The market is coiled up, but don't jump the gun. Look for this before your next trade. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Hey guys, Keith Allen. Hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. We had 4th of July weekend last weekend. And price action has been a little funky. We did have a little bit of volatility over the weekend, but price really has been compressed into a tight range. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Like all this positive news, Bitcoin's coiled up, the alts are coiled up, but why isn't anything breaking out yet? I mean, some things are breaking out, but for the most part, the broader market hasn't really had a significant move yet. And so we're going to look at what factors are contributing to this. And yes, there is, of course, that catalyst. What news is going to drive the thing? We've got another pushback on the deadline for tariffs, more Trump noise. We have geopolitics, all of these things we could speculate on, institutional ETFs, blah, 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 noise. We could speculate on all of these things. When they happen is kind of anybody's guess. But what isn't speculative is what the charts are showing us. The signs are very, very clear in the charts, and you can see it. And that's what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to show you what is holding price down. We'll look at liquidity in the order book, and that's kind of obvious. But we're going to look at some other technicals in the charts to help you understand what it's going to take, what levels, what specific levels these coins, Bitcoin, and live chat is open. So I'm happy to look up some alts for you guys and show you exactly what levels we're watching to really signal when we have a legitimate breakout attempt happening or potentially a breakdown. So without further ado, I will ask you guys, as usual, a little bit of housekeeping. If you haven't done so yet, please do me a favor and smash some buttons. Help me grow this channel. If you're new to the stream, again, my name is Keith Allen. I'm a work-from-home dad. I'm a full-time trader. I'm co-founder of Material Indicators. If you're an OG to the stream, man, I appreciate you guys. Really, really appreciate the feedback and the continued support. So smash those buttons. Share this stream with someone in your group or your community so we can bring more people into this. And make sure you hit that subscribe button up top so you don't miss any of the future streams. Links will be in the description for tools and to join our community on Telegram. It's free. By all means, would love to have you join us. So again, live chat is open. If you've got questions, I'll do my best to answer them. If you have insight, by all means, please share them with us. We love sharing around here. So let's go ahead and climb into the charts. And I think I'm going to start here on the Bitcoin candle chart because that's obviously a very clear sign and something we've been watching for days here. So there's some things in this chart I want to show you and some things that you might not have seen before. So let's go ahead and climb right in. I'm going to start by sharing the candle chart. And yes, I am going to make sure that the chart is shared before I start analyzing it. Let's see. Here we go. All right, so Bitcoin daily chart right here, and you can see if I zoom out a little bit, here's our long-term trend since back in September of last year or 23 even. So from all the way back here, September 2023, I'll take off trend precognition, and we're going to clear out some of the noise here and focus on what is happening right now. So this trend right here, the resistance band, you can see we've been trading on this line for almost a week now. And price has been above and below this line here through the course of the holiday weekend, and we're still trading right on this. And you see this candle right here. This is a doji candle, really, really indecisive. And a little bit of a downside interest here from trend precognition, giving us a down signal on the daily time frame. But I'm going to remind you that timeframes truly do matter here because things look different on the weekly, the monthly, and quarterly. Okay, but what about this? What's it going to take to really have a decisive move, closes above this trend line, and start working our way back to new all-time highs? Well, there are mixed signals in this daily chart. One being this trend precognition signal here. Let's see if we have one on the A2 algo real quick. Nothing on the A2 algo, no arrows up here, but the A1 I like very, very much as well. So I'm good with that there. It really kind of shows the diminishing bullish momentum at the moment. Now, we do have remember this, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, this death cross here, and we had a golden cross on the higher time frame, the death cross on the lower time frame. Took a little bit of time for this to develop. It finally did, but a really shallow one, right? So now it's literally a decisive move in one direction or the other. It's either going to extend this death cross with the green 21 moving average coming down lower, or unwind it into a golden cross, which would signal the upside. And that would be an explosive move out the top here that draws the green 21 up above the red 50. And then we can start focusing on taking out that all-time high at 112K and then on to price discovery. But again, as you can see, we're really closely wound here, and it's anybody's guess which way this is going to go here in the short term. So I want to introduce to you an indicator that you may or may not have seen before. It's new to Material Indicators. It's still in beta. We haven't actually released it yet. Been playing with it with our Premium Plus subscribers a bit. But this is a time-based indicator that basically, or quite simply, marks the yearly opens. You can set it to anything you want, yearly, quarterly, weekly, whatever. But most importantly, yearly and quarterly opens seem to have some technical merits here, and the first week of those periods as well. So first week of the year, first week of the quarter, etc. And if I switch that on here, you're going to see something that I think is pretty eye-opening. There are very few coins that I've come across anyhow that have been trading above the 2025 yearly open. And Bitcoin is one of them. However, we just had a quarterly open, right? A few days ago, just about a week ago. And we are pinned right now in between the quarterly open and the first week of the year. Let me show you what I mean. So let's go to the timescapes indicator. I need to zoom this out a little bit. As I mentioned, this is still in beta, but let's see what my settings are. Make sure I have this set to the right thing here. Let's add the quarterly signals in here. And so now you can see, look at this. We're literally pinned between the quarterly open, which was at 107,164 dollars on this exchange, and the first week, which opened at 109,231. And so price has been trading in this range. We have wicked up high, but it just has not materialized in terms of a breakout. And this is very, very clear, right? Without breaking above this, this is the glass ceiling right now, between here and getting back to the all-time high. Now we're very close, right? This is a positive area. And one could say that, hey, consolidation ranges are good. They're typically healthy places to dollar cost average, and that is very, very true. However, if you're already in a position, I would be looking to, well, let me put it this way. I'm already in a position, and what I'm looking to do is add to my position on support tests. So the fact that we have confluence here between this, our quarterly open, and these very tightly wound moving averages, to me, this makes technical support very, very strong in this range. So that's about 106K, right? The 21, the yearly open was at what? I mean, the quarterly open rather was at 107K. The moving averages are 106.6K. So a revisit down to this level, I'd be looking to see what's happening here. Now, again, I don't do anything with just one indicator, one chart, or anything. I look across the board. I use all the tools and data I have available to me to help me make my decisions of when it's time to push that button. And the problem that people are having here, right? They're impatient. This market is just filled with impatient, undisciplined traders, and many of them are over trading these tight ranges and getting wrecked and wondering why. And so what I'd like to do, okay, so we know we have some technical support down here, about 106K. And we know we have strong resistance up here around 109K. And then of course the all-time high, right? So what I like to do is look at the order book liquidity, the dynamic of the order book liquidity, to give me some insight as to where liquidity-based resistance and support might be, and where it might be moving, because when it's moving, we can gauge where the momentum shifts are happening. And then the really key piece to this is, what's the order flow? What are whales doing specifically? What are purple whales doing? And with that, we're going to go to fire charts and take a look here. I had posted over the weekend when this block, I had posted that this run was happening up towards 110K when we got this move right here, right about here. And then this block appeared, and I posted that this was going to block the move. And on that note, thanks to Cointelegraph for giving us a little bit of love on that. We called it, right? It wasn't happening. The return to price discovery was blocked by a band of ask liquidity at 110K. And so we saw it happening in real time. And rather than rush into smashing buttons and buying a breakout attempt, we waited and patiently waited and did not buy here, did not buy the local top, and will wait for a deeper correction. Now, might this have been good down here? Yeah, at least for the short term. Are we going to go lower? And so this is where we get into some serious questions. If we go into higher time frames, we can see we have a concentration of ask liquidity stacked from 110 up to 112, where the current all-time high is. And then psychological at 115, psychological at 120. The fact that there is, considerable liquidity there is valid and important to pay attention to, but these are psychological levels at this point. We've never been there. And so if you spend any time in this market, you know that we get to these, the 5,000s, every 5,000, 10,000 levels, those round numbers tend to be psychological resistance and support until we actually build some structure in those ranges. So what we can tell here is that, and you can see this ever so slightly right here. You can see, look, see how it's just getting a little bit brighter right here? And that's not a lot, right? It's went from 50 million up to 52.2 million. So another, 2.25 million. But what that's showing you is strength. More ask liquidity is stacking at that level. Whereas below, it's not concentrated. It's easier to cut through thinner liquidity than it is to cut through thick liquidity, right? So it's heavy here, 52 million or so, and it's laddered and distributed down through this range all the way down to some, I think, other key levels that we need to watch here. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. Some other levels that we need to watch here, and I can push the contrast to make it easier to see. We have that psychological 100K level that actually built some technical merit because we spent a lot of time there. And we're going to show you that on the chart in a second. And then we have 98 and this 93 level. This is actually sub 93K. I'm going to show you why those levels are important. If we go back to our timescapes indicator, we can see that the yearly open was down here at 93 and change. Let's see, that was at specifically 93.3K. And the first week was at 98.3K. pretty nice range here, by the way. And look, we have some consolidation in this range here. Um, so if we test this support here and price holds, that's a good buy zone, in my opinion. If it doesn't hold, obviously the trend line comes into play, which is always interesting to me. That currently sits at about 103K. And then obviously these timescapes and these moving averages come into play down here. This is the first week of the year open, and then all the way down here. I think, honestly, unless we have just a major catalyst of nasty news, I think that this 93K level is less likely. This obviously is my near range target. And dollar cost averaging at these levels could pay off for you in the long run. However, I always like to look to see when buying is happening by whales. So for that, I go back to fire charts to look at the order flow. And historically, purple whales have had the most influence over Bitcoin price action. Now, brown whales, a lot of people go, well, brown whales, those mega whales, those guys are making the bigger orders, aren't they? Yes, they are making larger orders. But purple whales are making so exponentially more orders that even though the order size is smaller, the sheer frequency of those orders creates exponentially more volume from purple than we see from brown. Now, brown is basically dollar cost averaging their way in, and we often see them buy and sell around heavy concentrations of liquidity to minimize the slippage. So when price gets up here around 110, don't be surprised when you see brown buying right into that thick liquidity at those moments, because they can do so without a lot of slippage. Whereas if you try to do so with thin liquidity, price is going to shoot up on you. So now to the shorter term, we can see that there is a little bit of buying here from purple, but not a lot, not a heavy volume here by any stretch of the imagination at this point. So I'm watching to see what happens when we get near these concentrations of bid liquidity. At that point, when price drops to those levels, will we see purple buying or will we see them selling? And over the course of the weekend, many times, most of the time, they were selling into this. And so that's why I didn't push buttons over the weekend. It is really a wide view of data that you can look at to help you make more informed decisions here. And in my opinion, I think that this 106 level, because it's got a backstop here at 105K with a little more volume here, that 106K could hold. And I like it because of all the confluence we have with the timescape level and these key moving averages. If it doesn't, I'm prepared to go lower. I will not catch a knife here. I will look to see what the order flow is happening. If whales are buying, I'm buying too. How about some other coins? And I promised you guys I would look at some other coins. And so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to use this timescapes indicator to help you guys out a little bit and shed some light on what we might be seeing. ETH obviously has been coiled up as well. And I posted this chart here this morning. Here's the problem with ETH. Before I even get to the timescape, we have a death cross. It just happened here between the blue 100-day moving average and the red, 100-week moving average and the red 50-week moving average. Now we're on a weekly time frame. That's a little bit higher time frame. The daily chart going to look a little bit different. Daily chart is showing us a lot of confluence here between these key moving indicators. The red 50, the purple 200, the green 21, and the green 21 may be on pace here to try and unwind and golden cross the 200. And if that happens, that could really be an indication that things are starting to move. Now let's introduce the timescapes into this chart as well. And here you can see, let me expand this for you guys a little bit or a lot. Here you can see that we're in a similar set of circumstances, pinned under the quarterly open, right? So here we go. This was, let's see, on the daily. Here we go. This was the quarterly open right here. So we have support at the quarterly open. We have resistance at the, what I believe was the first week. Yeah. So we're pinned between support and resistance between the quarterly open and the first week of the quarter. So if we could, if ETH can break this, if ETH can break this level here, and that would be right where this death cross is, then maybe it's a short term or a short-lived death cross, and will unwind. And the reason I think there's potential for that to happen is because we have upward momentum here from trend precognition, as you can see. We have this move right here, which indicates, I'll turn off the timescapes to make it a little bit easier to see. We have this move developing here, which is the early stages, in my opinion, of a potential series of golden crosses between the 21, the 200, and the 50 moving averages. This is on the daily time frame, of course. So watching this very, very closely. If price can break that timescape level, which is essentially right where we're at, if we can break this level and break these moving averages, then I think that ETH is poised to rip from there. What else you got? Let's go to Litecoin. I really used to love this coin, and I'm starting to reconsider my position on it. I currently have sold my Litecoin because it went up, it came down, it went up, it came down. I made some decent money on it, but it has not been kind here in the past couple of months. It's been on a steady decline. And so what looks good here for Litecoin in the chart is that it has, broken out from the structure here and is now testing support on the 21 moving average, as you can see down here. But here's my issue. And here's my issue with every alt. I always look for something fundamental. And ETH, we know, underlying, use cases for so many things, right? Smart contracts, banking, et cetera, et cetera. Solana giving ETH a run for its money. Coins like Chainlink and Ondo, even XRP, which I don't love either, but at least they have some use cases. Litecoin has some use cases, but I don't know what's going on over there. All I see on social media from Litecoin is shit posting. So, you want my attention, you want my investment, then show me what you're doing actively to grow. What are you actively doing to build a better, bigger, better, stronger, more reliable? Actually, they've been very reliable, 100% uptime. But what are they doing? Is there? It seems like interest is fading. Development seems to be fading. So I'm a little concerned about what's happening in Litecoin. That said, and just in terms of a pure, scalp or a swing trade, looking interesting right here, pinned between these key moving averages. But imagine breaking above this red 50-day moving average would unwind things, start drawing everything up, and you've got lots of potential upside just even to get to the 200-day moving average. And again, it also has some positive momentum. You can see we have down here on the A1 algo a green signal on the daily, which is an indication that this support might hold. This support is likely to hold here for the day. On the weekly, let's see if it's any different. Weekly, higher time frame, looking for death crosses here, to be honest with you. So conflicting and indecisive, in my opinion. Right? You've got a breakout from a structure, not a very long structure, but you do have a structural breakout here. But you're running into serious resistance, and you have a series of crosses about to happen with these moving averages, which make it a tough call here. Um, on the daily, shorter term, you know, same kind of scenario. Now let's see if timescapes come into play for this one. Okay. So, lots going on there on a dino coin. Many quarters and years. Let me make sure that I don't have too much going on here. Daily, quarterly. Okay. Yeah, I mean yearly and quarterly. Okay, we're good there. Um, let's just expand. So here we go. Similar set of circumstances to what I just looked at with ETH, right? Here's the date. Here's the quarterly open, July 1st, serving as support. Here's the first week of the quarter, serving as resistance. Got to break this. Quite frankly, got to break above that red 50-day moving average to see some upside here. How about another one? XRP, one of the few that has been trading above its yearly open. Here's the yearly open right here, which was at $2 and almost 8 cents. But it is stuck below the first week of the year. And it's been trading in this range. So, decent consolidation range, right on the verge of a potential breakout here. But I would say that just breaking this structure, it's going to take more. Obviously, we have resistance between the 200-day moving average and the first week of the year. This is the number that you need to beat to really see an explosive move from XRP. That is currently looking like about $2.39, 240. You break that 240, and you've got lots of upside potential here for this coin, right? So just on a setup of where we sit right now, I would want to see all of this holding for support, say a 5% downside risk, and then in terms of what's possible to the upside. Okay, from here, that's not a good setup just to get to the yearly open. Not great, but if you can expand past that, then you've got lots of room for growth, including new all-time highs. So if you move your entry up here to a breakout of the timescape level here, then you've got a much better risk to reward setup. I would at that point move my stop loss up a bit too. You got a pretty nice setup here. In fact, if I was waiting for that, I would keep it above the structure, to be honest with you. So maybe 5% there as well. That's a much better risk to reward setup. And then beyond that, the upside potential for this goes much higher, in my opinion. Let me do a couple things here just to ballpark it. Let's turn off that timescape because I don't want to have too many lines on the chart. And let's look at what a fib extension would look like if we took it from this high then we have potential to see things go to, right? The high is, like we said, at 340-ish. And then you have these fib extensions, 1.618, $4.53, $4.51, up to the 2.618. Now, I don't know if any of these things are realistic for this cycle, but just based on the news you get out of XRP, there's a lot of upside potential. My concern is I just don't trust the guy in charge, and they're holding coins that they could dump on the market at any moment. So 48% to get back to the high, and up to the fib extension, the 1.618, probably realistic for the cycle, is a 96% move. So there is a good setup there developing if price can break above here and that timescape level that we just talked about. What else we got? Let's take a look at Solana. And guys, if you have anything you want me to take a look at, I will do so before I wrap here. If it's not a just flat out shitcoin. Do, 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 do. Solana USD. All right. Kind of a similar setup in terms of where it's sitting with the structure. We have some technical resistance here between the 50 day moving average and the structure here. And then that 200 day moving average, it needs to be cleared. But let's add the timescapes back in and see where we're trading right now. Look at this. We have Solana trading below the quarterly open. So if you're looking for that big upside move, it ain't coming until price can break above this level here. That's the quarterly open. And look at the confluence between where that is, the red 50-day moving average, and the structure. So you want that big upside move, you've got to get through this first. I would venture to say that we have additional resistance, obviously, here at these levels, and a lot of concentration around this 382 fib extension. But the upside potential, obviously, very, very good from here. Looking for this breakout to happen. And in terms of timing, let me just say this. Price tends to break out of these structures before you get to the end, and this one's running till almost the end of the month. So timing wise, just in terms of the structure, it's primed, it's coiled up, it's ready to go. But here's the true technical levels you've got to look at and you've got to be watching before you start pushing buttons. You mitigate a lot of risk by waiting for this breakout from here. Now, price was back down here on the structure. I might be inclined to take an entry or add to my entry, I would say, because you have more potential upside just to get back to back to resistance. And if it fails, then you just cash out and you close that as a swing trade, or take a little profit here and then let the rest go to the next level, et cetera, et cetera. How about Ondo? Now, Ondo is closer to support levels here. And I'm interested in this coin because Ondo and Link have been, I think, with maybe MasterCard or Visa working on transactions. Who is that? No, it's actually JP Morgan. Chainlink and Ondo were used by JP Morgan to settle their first on-chain transactions. So that's something that they're experimenting with. I don't know that they're necessarily committed to it yet, but the fact that they're using it and working with it and testing it out is positive. It took things off the bottom here, but it's not yet manifested itself into a breakout. And you can see price literally trading right here at this quarterly, right between. Here it is, the quarterly open and the first week of the quarter right here. So we're trying to break out from the first week of that quarter right now as we speak. So there's potential upside here. And then obviously breaking out, look at the confluence between the 100-day moving average and the trend line here. So this is getting interesting on Ondo, in my opinion. If you don't have anything else that you want me to chart for you guys, I'm going to wrap it here and get back into it. I'm going to leave you with a parting shot here of the order book with Bitcoin. And you can see, look, looks like we're clearing some resistance here, but let's look and see what whales are actually doing. Let's look and see what those purple guys are doing. And they're not really coming on strong right now. So I almost view this as somewhat of a no trade zone because we're pinned in this range. Right? This looks, looking at this, you go, oh, look, coming above this block of ask liquidity. Well, it's not a ton at this point. So it's not that impressive to me. And the little bit of momentum that you see here coming off the bottom isn't getting me excited because of the fact that we are so clearly still pinned below this timescape level. Now, the fact that we are at the moment above the trend line is good. The fact that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days trading above, we've been trading above the quarterly open, which is good. And we need to see some closes above this trend line and then a breakout above here to really go after the all-time high. And I just think that timing wise, with what's going on in the world, right? We led this thing off talking about the speculative nature of the timing, because it is often dependent on a catalyst, a news-driven catalyst, and we're just not seeing them yet. So yesterday, another kicking the can down the road with tariffs, which I'm not going to say I told you so, but listen, if you're not clued into this guy's patterns yet, and by this guy I mean the orange man, and his family, then you just aren't paying attention. And then, of course, yesterday they announced all that bullshit about the Epstein files, which now just does more to erode the trust that anybody who's foolish enough to trust that administration ever had. So we're not there yet. There's going to be some smoke screens on this Epstein thing and now I will say this. The administration has announced that next week is going to be crypto week. They've got 3 pieces of legislation that are going to be worked on. One might actually have a chance of passing in the next week. So, I mean, in terms of like being signed, so that could potentially be a positive catalyst for the crypto market. And if all 3 get pushed forward, then that could be our catalyst. But right now, it is very clear that we were pinned in this zone. And for me, this is a no trade zone. Going to leave it right there, guys. Hope you have a fantastic day and a fantastic week. And I hope that this is at least giving you some insight to help you identify the key areas and levels that you need to be watching before you start smashing buttons. Have a great day. We'll do it again, probably tomorrow. All right, guys, be good.